teaching of Reverend Simeon Afolabi, you will know that your life cannot remain the same. This is a practical man, and he fits for business, government, whatever occasion. Of course, yesterday, in a few minutes, you heard the remarks that he gave. So I'd like him finally to wrap up all the session and lead us to the throne of God. Because whatever we say, without the grace of God being released upon us, all of this would be nothing. So I wouldn't like you to miss that part. I make no pretense that I'm a Christian and I'm a child of God. And so it's important that in anything I do, the God factor must be there. And so I'd like you to get ready for that last part, because that's what will give us stimulus. That's what will ignite us as we go out. But for this afternoon, first we're going to listen to Miss Lucy Johnson Ekpeyon, State Manager of Small Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, for 15 minutes. And please, the timekeepers should really be up to it. Let's put our hands together and welcome Miss Lucy to tell us the products that are available that we can access.
Thank you very much, Dr. Steve. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Royalty Group, for this opportunity I've given to SMEDAN to stand before this great congregation. That we are very grateful, and we are happy to know that you are a great stakeholder in SME development. And I bring you things from my Director General, Alhaji Dr. Dikko Umaru Rada. He's very, very sorry that he's not here because the invitation came very late. He had other appointments outside the country, but he said I should tell you that he will be here in the next Ignite session, hopefully next year. So SMEDAN government organization, we were established in 2003, but we've been in Akwa Ibom State since 2007. We've been in Akwa Ibom State since 2007. You may ask what SMEDAN. SMEDAN is Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria. Please, our name is very long, but just call us SMEDAN. You know, just those small things that you are doing. And I am very, very proud of the young man that came up here to represent the speaker, because most of the time when you go online, you will see something like under 30 CEOs, under 40 CEOs, and I won't see an Akwa Ibom person. And I will be like, what is going on? It doesn't mean that our people are not doing well. They are doing well because we are servicing SMEs across the country. As an EPEC institution for enterprise development, we know that in each of the countries, in each of the states of the Federation, we have quite talented young people in this part of the country, but I don't really know what is happening, why we are not seeing them more often. But I'm very, very glad to see Mr. Siphon, and I'm very, very sure that Mr. Siphon will be an inspiration to even the upcoming young entrepreneurs in the state. But let me go straight to what SMEDAN does. SMEDAN is basically an EPEC organization for enterprise development. We have been mandated and we have been working in the area of business development. What we actually do is that we provide information to prospective and existing business persons across the country, and we provide this information that relates to raw materials, machinery, equipment, markets, and the activities of agencies of government. There might be some activities of agencies, especially at the federal level, that you don't know about, which is one of the issues that is really limiting us taking part in federal programs. Last year, for instance, we had a lot of funding coming into the state through the federal government, and most of our people were not able to access that fund just because they could not get that information. But in Smithern, what we do is that we try to relate with our sisters agency. I'm glad to see my counterpart from the Bank of Industry. So we relate with Bank of Industry, with CAC, with ITF, and all the enterprise development agencies. Then we work together, we share information. So if you need any information, Bank of Industry is not in Akwa Ibom, but my office is always aware of what funding that Bank of Industry is rolling out for youth, for adults, and different section of SMEs that we have in the country. So we provide this information, and then we also provide training. Our core mandate is on capacity building. So we provide capacity building. You cannot succeed in business if you are not trained. So people come up with these stories that entrepreneurs are made, entrepreneurs are born, and all that. But let me tell you that if you are not trained, if you are not, mentored and all that, you might not come out successfully in your business. So what Smithern does is that it trains you, builds your capacity in the area of bookkeeping, account, management, preparation of business plan. One of the barriers that we are, people, SMEs in Akwa Ibom is actually experiencing is that we are not able to access funding, even from the Bank of Industry, as we're supposed to, because our books are not complete in order. And then we are not, we don't have a business plan, but we all want to start business. If I ask most of the youth here, how many of us has put up our business plan, we'll be so surprised to see that a whole section of us has not put up our business plan. So we train you on how to write your own business plan, because the right person to write a business plan is you, not a consultant. You can only provide, the consultant can only fine-tune what you have given him to do. So we also facilitate access to finance. Please, let me stress here that Smithern is not a funding agency. Just like the federal government established Bank of Industry, Bank of Agric, Bank of Agric to fund businesses, Smithern is not to fund any business for now. That is not included in our mandate. But however, we facilitate funding. We link you to funding windows available even in the state and outside the state. This we've been doing hand in hand with Bank of Industry. Like last year, we linked some youth to the Yes Fund from the Bank of Industry. We helped them to fine-tune the application. We guided them on how to put up the application. And I'm very, very happy that some of the youth came back and told us that Bank of Industry has offered them letter of offer for the funds. Then we also facilitate access to improved workspace. We have with our sister agencies, such as technology incubation centers. We provide workspace for entrepreneurs that are just starting. You might not have money to rent a space, but we can source for workspace for you, free workspace. We do that with AKIS, and we also do that with the Technology Incubation Center. And we also provide mentorship. Mentorship is, almost all the speakers that spoke this morning have talked about, have showed the importance of mentorship. If you are not mentored, you might not come out successfully. And everyone that spoke this morning also told us how they actually they went through mentorship, and that has brought them to the stage they are in life. So mentoring, we mentored upcoming entrepreneurs. We link them to already successful entrepreneurs across the country who can also help them. We provide advisory services for small business counseling. We also facilitate linkages with other enterprises for improved production. So apart from that, we also organize what we call Access to Finance program in partnership with GLOW. That program has not come to you yet, but in the Niger Delta, we've done in Port Harcourt, we've done in Calabar. I hope it will soon come to Uyo. And I want to thank Pastor that this event, Ignite, is very apt because right now, Smithan is currently rolling out what we call One Product, One Logo Government, OLO. Sorry, One Logo Government, One Product. It has been approved by the Senate, and right now we are receiving application from interested cooperative societies. OLO is for cooperative societies across the country. So what the federal government wants to do is that they want to develop a product, an agricultural product that is peculiar to a particular community. Like for instance, in Eket, we have water line, so our fish is what will give us that comparative advantage, like in the Anang axis, the palm oil, and in the Uyo axis, whatever they have there. So I would really encourage.
What's that? Boss, what happened? What happened? Why they put it like that?
Okay.
Okay, what about the
Okay,
happening?
sorry. A lot of things are actually available in the Uyo axis. Uyo has a lot. Yes, Uyo has a lot. So you can come up with cassava or whatever. Okay. So I will really encourage participants here. If you are in a cooperative, please get back to Smithan website, www.smithan.gov.ng, and please send your get more information and send your application to Smithan office at 4 Eswene Close off Eswene Street by IBB Way, Uyo. That expression of interest will soon close. The OLO program has 3 segments. It has the funding, it has the capacity building, and it has the equipment financing. The funding will take care of the working capital for your project, and then there will be provision of equipment that you may need to process your agricultural produce, and then there will be capacity building. And also, we also roll out a program in partnership with NDDC, the Skill Acquisition Program, which Smithan intends to help to empower the Niger Delta region. The application is on right now, so you can check online and use the opportunity to apply. Then also for the cooperative, for those of us, I want us to note that presently donors, development partners are more concerned with people working in groups, self-help groups, cooperative societies. So the era of working alone is over. Nobody is really going to pay attention to individuals working alone. So if you don't have a cooperative, you need to find yourself, you need to find one. And I really want to take this opportunity to talk to people from Eket, because I'm from Eket. And as I was coming with Daddy Ufolebon into this program, I was telling him that the other 2 senatorial districts has really left us behind. That this is a good opportunity for our people to run and catch up with the Korekpene and the Uyo senatorial district. So we have a lot of work to do. So whatever you find is available in your community, people are innovating things, and we in Eket cannot be left behind. We have to rise up to do something. I am telling you that Uyo and Korekpene, they had left us behind. We need to get up and run and catch up with them. And I want to also mention here that Smithan has what we call cooperative mentorship program. If you are a cooperative, you don't know what to do, you can actually come to us. We have very few slots that we can handle because of our resources. We will mentor you, we will mold you, and we will make you to be a cooperative. Because what we've seen in Akwa Ibom is not what is happening in other places. Permit me to say this. What you call cooperative here is not cooperative per se. People just form groups because of political incentives, and this is very, very wrong. And this is why you get so bitter. If at the end of the day the governor does not give you rice, does not give you oil, you get so bitter. Cooperative was not meant to be like that. I work with cooperative in Okitipupa in Ondo State. They who are up to 150 years old, they are actually run by the great-grandchildren of the original owners. And when they have their AGM, you will see them sending for the government. They are richer than the government of Ondo State. So I don't know why we always want the government to do everything for us. Not because I work for government, but I think that if we want to rise, we have to rise up and then do something and then let government see what we are doing. We have to operate as if government does not exist. Then government will look for us. I'm serious about this. And no, because this is what is obtainable in some of the places. The earlier you do this, the better for us. So let us as cooperative, as Eket people, please, especially I'm really speaking to Eket people. When I say Eket, Ona, Esreket, Ibono, let us stop playing draft in the morning. The other day I was embarrassed. I went to Ibono to work early morning and I saw young men with bottles of beer and playing draft early morning. I was ashamed. So let us stop this kind of life. It's not helping us. Also, please, I also want to send my special words to the youth. I think the youth, we are all carrying phones. We are all carrying big phones. We are all using several thousands to buy phone. But the problem is that what are we really doing with this phone? If you check online now, very young people are doing fantastic things. Please don't ask me that, what have you done? I have done something. I started my business at the age of 16. I started my business before I got into the university. And throughout my 5 years in the University of Lagos, I never collected a dime from my parents. Rather, I sent money home. So you can ask anybody. My very first business was in the Ivy College. When the Ivy College wanted to change their interior of their hostel, I did that job for them and they paid me 380,000. That was my first job. I hammered 200,000 after I finished that job. You know, so, and I also established Moonlight Educational Services. It's a book, I advise children on in career and all that, and also sell books. And I discovered that the first book I sold, the money I made was greater than my salary. So don't tell me what do I. So I just want to, because my time is up, please, if you want to take part in any of our programs, you can meet us at 4 Eswene Close off Eswene Street, Uyo. Our number is it allowed? Yes. 0808 575 0689. Please, because I don't have enough time to tell you, to give you all the information here. I have our information flyers here, how to write your business plan, and all the questions you need to ask about Smidan. I'm going to send it to Mr. Nkanta, who will send it around. Please, if you cannot get it, you can just pick it from our office, or you can check our online for further information, www.smidan.gov.ng. Thank you very much.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that smart presentation, of course, well articulated, deserves another round of applause. Thank you. One issue I have with that presentation is the fact that beer parlors will soon pack up in the Ikoyeke Senatorial District. It's very unfortunate, but I think it's for the future of our very aspiring entrepreneurs. But yeah, I know our beer sellers. Thank you. All right, very distinguished participants. Up next, we will be listening to another great orator, another genius in the art of oratory. He is an internationally acclaimed on-air personality, and he's got plenty at his disposal to help us out in our urge to get to the actual of our career. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, please join me as I welcome Jeff Q to come and share his experience. Thank you.
All right, they say I'm international, but I live in New York. It's fine. I want to thank the organizers led by Pastor Moreno for this opportunity. I've been given 15 minutes and I wish I was like my brother and friend, Pastor Kuma Yoga, who can use 5 minutes to make a presentation. But I'll do my best. Uncle Heidi, I am also waiting for you. All right. Hello? Hello? Are we tired? No. How many of you want to be broadcasters? You want to be broadcasters? Okay, I should remove my glasses. Oh. You know, I'm used to not being seen. Do I look okay now? Or I look funny? I look okay. Thank you. Are you okay now? Yeah. What else do you want? I should use my radio voice. Oh my God. Okay. But first of all, seriously, how many of you want to be on the radio someday, on television? Let me see you. All right. Okay. I have a simple responsibility to see how I can inspire you to do that. So let me just get straight to business. It's a beautiful privilege to be on the radio or to have to interface with a lot of people all at the same time. Pastor, thank you very much. I was thanking you before you sat down. You go on the radio by 4 p.m. and the news bed goes and you go. You're welcome to Nigeria's #1 family radio station. This is the news update at 4 p.m. We begin from the nation's capital, where the president has said he is passionate about changing infrastructure in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari was saying this yesterday at the media parley, where he was fielding questions. Do you like the way I sound?
That's what you wanted.
What I did not happen in one day. It didn't happen in one day. And the truth is that some of you are getting into all kinds of businesses. Some of these businesses will have to be on the radio. As a matter of fact, some people are speaking, we're already engaging them to bring them to the radio. Now, one of the things I learned in film school at PEFT in Lagos was the fact that the best way to follow a story is to follow a character. So in my presentation today, very briefly, I hope I will be as brief as possible so I don't lose the momentum. I want to talk about the business of broadcasting, my lesson from a young man called Kumla. Ladies and gentlemen, Kumla Afeke-Dumo was one of Africa's finest broadcasters and export from Ghana. Kumla Dumo broke all the barriers to become the... Is my slide ready? Can you see that? Can you go back to the other slide? Go back, just go back so they can see. That's Kumla. Unfortunately, he died of a cardiac arrest at the age of 41 suddenly. But the man you see there is a barrier breaker. The BBC is perceived sometimes, please don't put this online. The BBC is perceived sometimes to be one of the biggest international media platforms, but also they perceive them to be racist by perception quotient. To see a man rise from Joy FM in Ghana to a point where he began to read the BBC World News Service is a big feat as a black man. Kumla Dumo became the first black man to ever read the World News, how do you call it now? The World News on the BBC, ever. That means, let me tell you what it means. It simply means Kumla Dumo had to be better than the white people. So I will be talking about the business of broadcasting, my lesson from Kumla. Kumla Dumo went on from Joy FM. He was reporting traffic from a scooter, from a keke, reporting traffic. From there, he went on to the morning show on that radio station. And then Providence came his way in 2006. The BBC found him and he was on Network Africa in 2006, covering about 10 million audience. He went on to grow to become the leader of the World News, about 100 million people listening to him across the world. But with all of these achievements that Kumla Dumo had, there was one problem that Kumla Dumo wanted to solve. In fact, it was said of Kumla Dumo by the BBC Global News Director, Peter Horrocks, that Kumla Dumo is the leading light of African journalism. In 2013, News Africa magazine referred to him as an emerging African face of global broadcasting. So they listed him as one of the 100 most influential Africans. With all of this, Kumla said, and I quote, "There is much to tell about Africa than the usual stories about war, famine, disease. If you allow me to add things like poverty." So they created a show called the BBC Focus on Africa. How many of you know the BBC Focus on Africa? It was all about changing the African narrative. With all the success, fundamental to him was a solemn responsibility to change the African story and begin to tell African story done by Africans for Africans, so that you wouldn't see Africa as a jungle or as a place where good things don't happen, just disease, famine, and all of that. If you want to see any or what the BBC, people like Kum Ladumor pioneered to make sure that people in the West, first of all, realize that there are potentials and great people like you and I who live in Africa and are very, very successful. So, ladies and gentlemen, my very first question to you is, do you really know why you are doing or why you're about to do what you want to do? Do you know why you want to be a broadcaster? You want to be an entrepreneur? Do you really have an understanding of what you want to do? Some people, according to Vusi Tembenkwayo, who is a fantastic business speaker from South Africa, he said there are 4 reasons people do business. Number 1 reason, just to have a better lifestyle. I want to drive a Lamborghini. I don't want to drive a Mercedes. Poor reason to do business. The next reason is legacy. Oh, I've suffered so much. I scratched from the ground. I want to bequeath a wedding legacy to my children so that they will be heir apparent to my dynasty. That's great, but I'm worried about that. Some people, they just want to make sales. That's all they want to do. It's great, but I'm also concerned. They said the most successful businessmen are businessmen that have built business based on a philosophy. The philosophy of the people. They want to serve the people. So people like Facebook, Apple, Coca-Cola, and the rest of them. Zuckerberg will tell you, I just wanted to break borders and make people connect together. That was the philosophy, not necessarily about profit. So that's why I asked, if you want to be a broadcaster, why do you really want to be a broadcaster? Can you move on the slide? Just go forward a bit. I have 15 minutes, I'm racing. Yeah, stay there. Just stay there with me. So let me talk to broadcasters. Remember, my subject is the business of broadcasting. My lesson from Kumla. You want to be a broadcaster, it's a fantastic thing. But the first thing I would like to tell you, which is something I live by as a person, is that you must have a philosophy to serve people. Whatever gift you have, it's about service. It's not about, okay, I have 10 more minutes. Thank you. It's about service, service, and service to the people. The next thing you must do if you want to be a broadcaster is you must deepen your communication skill. Pastor Kumaya spoke about that. What does it mean to deepen your communication skill? Elocution. Everybody say elocution. I can't hear you. Say elocution. Elocution is basically your ability to speak in the way that is accepted internationally, in a standard accepted for you to speak publicly. Stop saying English is not my mother's language. Stop it. Learn what you can learn, because you never know where you're going. Elocution is key for you to be a great broadcaster. Your vocabulary base is important. Do we see how people that want to be broadcasters here? Am I making sense to you? Your vocabulary base is part of deepening your communication skill. Your vocabulary base. Choose at least 1 or 2 words every day that you must know what it means, how to use it, and how to pronounce it. Every day. Every day. Because complex thoughts will cross your mind. With the use of language, you can express complex thoughts and win a lot of people to yourself. The next thing you must understand is phonetics. If you want to sound like privileged, can I use myself? Yeah. If you want to sound the way I sounded when I was trying to read the news, it's important to understand phonetics, vowel sounds. Constant, those things they taught you in secondary school that you're using to brembre. Stress, weak form, syllabification, features of connected speech. I teach these things for money, so let me just roll through them. For instance, if you're not a broadcaster, I could accept when you pronounce words like adolescent as adolescent. It's fine for me. You're not a broadcaster, so I don't have a problem with that. But I will have a problem with you if you're a broadcaster and that word comes out of your mouth and is adolescent. Because there's no word like adolescent in English. It's adolescent. Everybody say adolescent. Are we still here? Look at your neighbor, say adolescent. Pastor Moore told me to raise the new set of broadcasters that will sell your businesses on the radio. So that's what I'm doing. Is that okay by you? the lesson from Kumla. People use these words interchangeably. I'm looking at words now because you must know your words correctly and how to pronounce them. The next thing is, people say, he's the president of Nigeria. What you said in English actually means not the leader of a country. You're actually referring to something in the past. Because there is no word, the word you say is president, is actually president. There is no is th. When you say president, you're actually referring to what the lawyers call precedent, which is not even a word in English. Am I disturbing your English? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So what the lawyers call the president of this case is actually president. What you call president is president. Am I making sense? Can I go on? Versatility is fundamental for you to be a very successful broadcaster. Versatility. You need to know a bit of everything. My GM is here. He has gone through the ranks of many things. You need to know a bit of everything. Read. Whether it bothers you, it doesn't bother you. Read. Versatility. The next thing is knowledge. Look at your neighbor, say knowledge. Look at your neighbor, say knowledge. It's not knowledge, oh. I said knowledge. Look at least learn to pronounce one word correctly today. Say knowledge. The depth of your mind. I learned this from Pastor Kuma Yoga. Knowledge. The next thing you need to have as a broadcaster, if you want to succeed, is passion. Because if you're in broadcasting for the money, you will not go very far. You won't go very far. We don't have money like politicians. We're just influential. But that influence can open doors. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Passion. The next thing I want to say is very important. If you want to be a great broadcaster, you must not play with the quality of your content. Everybody say content. If you look at the slides I wrote there, the king, your research, the newsmakers, the experts, the people. One of the things that make inspiration stand out in Akwa Ibom State and across Nigeria is the quality of our content. The company will not hire you if the quality of your mind is not deep enough to be able to reach out to people. There are people that call themselves the #1 hit music station, and it's fine to be the #1 hit music station, but we are Inspiration FM. When you listen to us, something has to happen to you. And one of the things that must happen to you is that you make a decision that will better your life. Clap for us now. The next thing is your concept. There are two things that makes a great radio or a great television. Just two things. Content and concept. Content is basically what you're saying, the depth of what you're saying, the level of research, the quality of what you're putting out in terms of substance. The next thing is concept. The other one is content. Concept is how you say what you say, your style. So basically, there are over 400 radio stations in Nigeria. 400 media platform licensed in Nigeria. Radio accounts for over 300 of them. And all of these people, they need content. They need quality people to be able to mount the station. Akwa Ibom State, for instance, has 5 radio stations, mainstream, 1 campus radio. I heard there's a community radio as well. So it is important that if you want to be a great broadcaster, you must have a great philosophy to reach out to a lot of people. I host a show called Sharing Life Issues, and it has even changed my own life as a person. How many of you listen to the show? Oh, I have a lot of fans. How many of you listen to me on the radio? Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. It is. Oh, celebration. That's when I'm lousy. So, basically, philosophy, your communication skill, your versatility, your knowledge, the passion, the quality of your content, and of course, your concept is absolutely vital. Let me wrap up by saying there's an intersection. I am talking about what I learned from Kumla, who is a barrier breaker as far as African journalism is concerned. As a matter of fact, when he died a few years ago, like 3 years ago, the BBC actually set up an award in his honor, looking out for the brightest minds on the continent to train and empower. Basically, they call it the BBC Kumladimore Awards, and it's a big thing to win that award. So, Broadcasters must know that they are critical to development in telling the African story. As a broadcaster, it's our responsibility to tell the African story, but Kumla said you must do it 3 ways, and I added 2 to it to make it 5. Balance is very, very key. As much as you talk about the beautiful things that happen in a wet housing and all the big men and all the things that happen there, there's also an issue in Okanafolo where people are constantly fighting and the rest of that. Balance. Look at your neighbor and say, balance is key. Balance. Oh, they say my time is up, I'm sorry. The next thing is talk to the expert. The expert could be anybody. The expert could be an Akuma Yoga, Pastor Moore. The expert could be ID. The expert could also be that woman in the village who actually witnessed the fight and the war. You must be able to talk to everybody. Get the best. Go to the next slide. Okay, that's the slide. Get the best talents. If you see down there, you'll see people like Richard Quest. Get the best talent. Get the best talent. Kumladomo. And that's me there. Get the best talent. I'm just posing for myself. The next thing is map your audience properly and tailor your delivery. And the last is own the narrative. All the points is about owning the narrative. Because whether you are a salesman as a businessman or you are a presenter and a broadcaster, what all of us are trying to do is to push a persuasive narrative to influence people either to buy or to listen. That's the nexus. That's the interconnection. So what did Kumla say? I will end with what he said, and I quote. He said, "Every day I wage war with myself. I battle with temptation to be lazy. Some days I win, other times I don't, but I keep fighting. I wish you strength in your own battle." As we live here, it's about which kind of narrative you are pushing out. A persuasive narrative. Akomaye came and pushed a narrative. I'm here pushing a narrative. Pastor Mo is pushing a narrative. ID will push a narrative. You're going to go there push a narrative. But in telling our stories and pushing our narrative, let us remember that the people are the core. If we want to succeed in anything, even in broadcasting, if the people are the core, your content will reflect it. And you, my brothers and sisters, will go very far. Thanks for listening.
That's a man whose name is nearly becoming a lexicon in the broadcast industry in Akwa Ibom, in particular in Nigeria by extension. Boy, I'm an name your boy, not Jeff Q. Thank you. All right, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm quite sure you had a swell time in the classroom. So up next, let's see what we have left before we go for lunch. I'm quite sure you know that there is such an establishment like the Bank of Industry. But there are very intriguing facts about this industry. This bank that is established by the federal government of Nigeria to ensure that they spoon feed the teeming industries across the country. All right, so at this juncture, it will be my pleasure to bring up a man that will further add width, parameters, of course, perspective, and also widen the horizon as far as so much you know about the Bank of Industry is concerned. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together one more time as we bring on board Richard Omonije, the State Manager of Bank of Industry, Cross River State Office. Thank you. But make your hand clap better than that. Thank you. Are you tired of clapping? Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Richard Omonije. I'm sincerely happy to be here. I was on leave when I got a call from the pastor that there's a program they're organizing in Akwa Ibom State, and he wanted the BOI to be represented, that he had actually sent in a letter. The first impression I got was one of those talks again. But when I set out this morning and I got in here, I had planned businesses to visit even in Naked here. But immediately I entered here, I told my colleague, no, cancel all visits until we are done here, so that when we finish, we can now re-strategize. And I want to sincerely thank Mr. Umar for this privilege to be here. We are doing a lot, but there's still a lot more to be done. I'm particularly happy for the audience. Such kind of opportunities are hard to come by these days, especially in Nigeria of today, where for no gains to yourself, you want to gather people together, you want them to acquire knowledge. It's, for him, it's more like a community service. He wants to give back to the same community, probably that has made him who he is today. I think he deserves a round of applause. Please, could you help me with? Okay, for BOI, like you know, it's a fact that there's a very important role that BOI can play in the growing of the MSME space. Some of the relevance are employment generation, income creation, poverty alleviation, production of intermediate products for use by large enterprises, mobilization of local resources, creation of new industries, and mitigation of urban migration. Now, there are a number of challenges that affect MSMEs, as we call them. Now, access to finance is one very major one. We'll come back to access to finance. Now, weak infrastructure, it's a Nigerian thing. The infrastructures are very weak. Now, we need to move from places to places. I've been to, this morning I left as early as 6:30. I've been to about 3 local government areas this morning in Akwa Ibom State. And you can imagine the toll it would have taken on the vehicle and on my body too, in trying to arrive here. Now, inconsistency in government policies, access to markets, obsolete technology, and weak access to modern equipment. Lack of trust of Nigerians in made in Nigerian goods. I'm particularly happy about the young man that came here and said he makes Nigerian shoes. Now, the truth of the matter is that it's not that we don't like made in Nigeria things, but one key thing is the quality of made in Nigerian things. Nigerians, we have taste. Nigerians, we have taste. We like good things. Now, if we can produce things that can match up with things that are imported, they are going to be a lot cheaper here because the raw materials are readily available in Nigeria. Lack of basic business capacity, this is very key. Now, poor record keeping, especially accounts books. Now, these are just literatures. BOI established in 2001, the shareholding structure of BOI, our vision to be African leading development finance institution operating under global. This is very apt. Now, to be African leading development finance institution operating under global best practices. Now, it gives us an impression that because BOI operates here in Cross River and Akwa Ibom State, now the narratives for our operation should be a bit skewed towards favoring the people around here. No, we are not looking at the local markets. BOI is looking at being an international organization. So the same principle applies. Whether you want to access fund here in Akwa Ibom or you want to access fund, you are based in Lagos, the narrative should be the same. Now, to transform Nigerian industrial sector by providing financial and business support services to enterprises. Providing financial assistance, that's the mandate for establishing of large, medium, small projects, as well as expansion, diversification, and modernization of existing enterprises, and rehabilitation of ailing industries. Now, how does BOI assist? Now, the back renders in line with mandates. Now, we set up greenfield and startup industries, expansion of existing projects, assisting of modernization and rehabilitation of ailing industries. Now, these are the criteria for which BOI selects a project it wants to support. Now, we'll do projects that use largely local raw materials. industries in which Nigerians' comparative advantage could be converted to competitive ones. We ventures that promote interstate and regional integration, small and medium enterprises that have linkages with large firms belonging to clusters or operate under franchises. Now, enterprises with high employment generation capacity. The project must be technically feasible, commercially viable, and economically desirable. Projects that are environmentally friendly, enterprises that have good management setup and proper accounting procedures, enterprises that promote women entrepreneurs. Now, these are the 5 canons. Now, we call, in economics, we call them the 5 C's of credit. Now, if I ask, everybody here wants finance. That's the truth. Even Richard, as I speak to you, I still want money. Now, I have a colleague here, he works in the Bank of Industry. Now, we had an MSME clinic with you like 2 weeks ago. How many of you remember? Yes, there was an MSME clinic in Uyo where the vice president came in. We had the same program in Crossover, Calabar. And it gave an opportunity for entrepreneurs to meet most government agencies. They are all arrayed. And this young man told me that he wants to register a company. I looked at him and he said, at the spot there, he went and he registered the company. Now, also, this young man, as you see, he works with the bank, but on weekends, he has a camera that he does photo shoots. It means that he's gainfully employed, but he has a business by the side. Now, does that qualify him to be an entrepreneur? Good. It's a question I think we need to ponder on. Now, for BOI and most financial institutions, what we look at is this. One, we look at the capacity, your ability to meet your loan repayment. Now, because for us, we are not a charitable organization. We are owned by government to provide financial assistance, but there must be accountability for every funds that are given out. Now, I wear so much a responsibility that now I need to go seek out projects that I will fund, but I also have a responsibility to also collect these funds back. So now it becomes more like a burden. Now I must identify projects that I know that are commercially viable, that they can repay back facilities. Now, so it takes us to the second one, capital. Now, no business is funded 100%. Now, what it means is, if you seek facility, you should have equity to put in. Now, you say, I have this business idea. Now, I want BOI to fund the project. Now, if you come to me, I will ask you, so now, what equity contribution do you have? You say you don't have anything. Now, it becomes very difficult for anybody to want to put in money. Pastor, this business is yours. Now, even if you got finance to establish it, you must have put in your own equity into it. Now, collateral is another one. We are regulated by CBN. It means that you cannot lend unsecured. Now, there must be some sort of security. Now, later we'll come back to how we can fund youths. Now, character is very key. The character of it's a bit difficult to judge a person that walks into your office and say he wants a loan. Now, how do I assess this person's character? So, but in our interaction, we start communicating. I begin to draw references from the person's interaction with me, how the person responds to issues. And sometimes you're able to know some kind of people that if you give this man money, this person will not pay you. So there's no point funding such businesses. Conditions. The purpose for which this loan is sought is also important. Now, it takes me now to the crux of this matter. Now, we are all youth here gathered. Now, in 2016, there was a big challenge. BOI needed to create a special program for youth financing, because now, like I mentioned, when I mentioned collateral, I said we'll talk about youth specifics. BOI needed to create a platform for youth. Now, the traditional collaterals that we would require for funding, I don't think there's any youth in Nigeria, except if your father is in politics or it's been bequeathed to you anyway, that you'll be able to, you have such kind of collaterals, landed properties and the likes. Now, but we said no. The youths, for those that have gone to school, your certificates can also stand forth. There are no jobs in Nigeria, that's the truth. So for some of us, we are very lucky to be working where we are working. But we know that we need to also do things. Now, it was what prompted me when we launched this program. And I wanted to talk to somebody in Akwa Ibom State. And I said, the only person I know that could do this was Lucy. She works very like an undercover. You hardly will hear Lucy talk. We've been working together since 2015 when I came to this axis. And I just gave her the product program and she started running with it. I don't know what she did, but we had a program after we'll go through the criteria. We had a program in Cross River State. That was the second leg of this youth program, where after you have done your application, your business plan, you submit your business plan, there's a consortium that will look at it and they'll select those that are qualified. The truth is, of all the people that are qualified to run the in-class program in Cross River State, over 90% of them came from Akwa Ibom State. I don't know how Lucy did it, but over 90% came from Akwa Ibom State. Now, we are running it in batches. This is one of the offerings for youth. We have other programs. We have programs, Nolly Fund. We have the business. This is for women. We have state matching fund, also a window. There's the federal government MSME fund under the NEDE program for youth. There's the cassava bread fund. There's the fashion fund. There's the cottage agro processing fund. Now there's also the Dangote fund. But for want of time, most of the criteria for accessing these fundings are here. There must be a formal application letter. There must be a certificate of registration. Now, very importantly also, when Lucy was talking, she mentioned that you must have a business plan. Now, I don't know what business you want to do, but the only way you can first tell me that BOI should look at this business is via a business plan. Now, the business plan takes care of the market potentials, takes care of the raw material sources, takes care of, like they mentioned, several speakers have mentioned here, that if you don't have a market, there's no point doing any business. Now, for me, critically, I want to fund a business, yes. I want BOI to support this business, yes. But it also, the onus is also on me too, because I'll be asked, how is funds going to be generated from this business? Because there's no point funding the business that the sources of payment will be coming from another source. So that is critically what BOI looks at. We expect that every business we fund should also generate enough cash flow to pay back itself. Now, if a business cannot generate enough cash flow to pay back itself, there's no point putting funds into that business. So for us, it is very critical. It's troubling to note that we got a number of applications, but after you review these applications, for some people, they see it like one of government largesse. Government is giving out money, let me apply and take part of my national gain. It is not so. I think for us, the time is gone where you want to access fund just for the fun of accessing funds. Now, I have a number of people here who, through Lucy, were able to access the BOI fund in Cross River in Akwa Ibom State here. I was surprised when I was walking. Somebody just tapped me and said, "Oh, I'm here." I said, "Fine, it's good to know you're here." Now, what I'm saying is, if it can happen to one person, it can happen to everybody in this hall. I'll be very happy if every entrepreneur here that is actively engaged in a business can diligently, because there must be diligence. It's not a matter of I wake up today, I apply for a loan today, and I get it today. No. There must be diligence in this process. It's a process. We don't run deposit money banking where I'll need to know your history, your day-to-day activities. Now, the only way I can get that is through your financials. Do you keep financial records? Now, if I ask a number of entrepreneurs here, how many of you keep financial records? Because these are germane issues that affect lending in Nigeria. There are funds available, that is the truth. For most government agencies funded by government, there are funds available, but we must also begin to take steps to understand how these funds can be accessed. Now, there's a criteria for which these funds can be accessed. Now, if you begin to take step by step, start today, get in touch with the agencies, and begin to understand how I can access these funds. I think we'll go a long way in industrializing that space. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for him. Please, immediately we will be taking questions so that we can go for a lunch time out. Of course, that will be late lunch. Please, if you have questions and you want to see clarity to certain points, please indicate by a lift of hand. We've seen two. Please, can you quickly make your way forward? Please. The first three, we will take the first three. Other than that, all right, I think everyone is eager to go for the lunch. We are absolutely exhausted. Okay, just one person. We have a second coming. Please make it quick. Thank you. All right, go ahead. Your question straight to the point.
I'm Mr. Stephen Ibe, and thank you, staff representation. My question is, I tried accessing one of your loan package, but the requirement was too much. They were saying I should bring somebody that has a level 12 in the government, a director, and all of these, and I couldn't access all of that, and some signatures refused from high top politicians or government persons.
So the question is, how do you go about that?
How can I maybe boycott, or how can I get?
All right, thank you very much. The next person.
Secondly,
the
your
next
address,
person, please.
Your address, sir. Thank you.
My name is Victor Michael.
Audience, please.
I'm here to tell His Excellency, the Governor of Royalty Group.
Please go straight to your question, please.
Thank you for this. God bless you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
My name is Moses Samuel. My question.
Audience, please, so we can hear him.
I am aware that BOI, I think in conjunction with SMEDA, just recently finished, I think maybe in conjunction as well with the Akwa Ibom State government, just recently finished like a capacity building in agriculture. Now, I also know that I have a very close friend of mine, which I also helped to design his business plan, and everything has been done, verified. Why is it that it takes a lot of time to access funds? Definitely, it now kills the dreams and aspiration of such individuals over time. That's my first question. I think the second one is, are there, will participants for such building capacity require part with any form of funding on their own part? Not necessarily in terms of accessing the fund or trying to process the funding for the programs.
Thank you very much. Distinguished participant, please let me quickly point us to a few things. Immediately the BOI delegates came on board. I had to Google with my phone what the board is all about. And for instance, if you Google now, you'll see that one of the parameters for assessing their facility is that you must know that their funding is strictly for equipment and not for funding for lands, the building entirely and all that. So I feel this kind of thing can help us jettison very many questions that are not pertinent for the show. Thank you very much. So quickly now to the question.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ephraim Edo, and I'm actually queued up to benefit from the Bank of Industries Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program. And I have friends also around here that have applied for the same funds and they've not been able to access it. Please, I would like to throw more light on that aspect. And then secondly, we would like to know where we can contact Bank of Industry in Akwa Ibom.
Thank you very much. Point taken. Over to you, Mr. Richard Imonije, for feedbacks. Thank you.
Okay, I'll start from the very last. We do not have an office in Akwa Ibom State, but our office in Cross River covers Akwa Ibom. Now, but before I leave here, I'll provide my contact. Our website is www.boi.ng. Is that taken? Now my email address RIMONIJE@boi.ng. RIMONIJE@boi.ng. Telephone contact 0803 076 7381. 0803 076 7381. Now for the Jeep Money Market, this is strictly a federal government intervention program. Now it's Now it's strictly a federal government intervention program. A lot of people have applied and they are undergoing processing. Now we have aggregators that are working with the bank to ensure that, one, the target market is selected. Now we know that there are a number of people that have applied for the JIP program that do not qualify to apply. Now I'll give you a typical example. Now a person that is working, it's not under any cooperative. Now, like she mentioned rightly, that the experience we have is that a number of people that have applied for the JIP program under the cooperative is such that they are not members of any cooperative society. Now, because you want to partake of this program, and one of the criteria is to be a member of a cooperative society, you quickly go and align yourself with the cooperative society. You don't have a business. Now, the JIP program loan was initially maximum of 100,000. Now, and it also depends on the nature of business you are engaged in. Now, after the first experience, they disbursed to a number of people. They discovered that repayment was not forthcoming as planned. So it has been now reduced to 50,000 naira. So the maximum you can get as an individual is 50,000 naira. After you have repaid the first, then you can now reapply to get 100,000 naira to continue to grow your business. That's what it is. So, but what that means is that, hello, are we together? Now, what that means is that it's an ongoing program. If you have not gotten, if you have applied and you have not gotten, I'm sure very soon they'll get to you. I'm absolutely sure, because even when we had the MSME program in Uyo, on that very day, some people got alert in that program. Somebody mentioned about as an entrepreneur, if you apply for BOI under the youth program, if you are supposed to bring equity contribution. I mentioned here that in funding, nobody funds a project 100%. Now, there must be equity contribution from your part. We do not fund structures. We do not fund lands. Now, there are small businesses where we may need to fund, like for small businesses that a number of us will be engaged in. Now, I want to rent a shop. That may come at the project officer's discretion, depending on the business structure. If it is critical and we know that this business survival depends on a stability of the choice of location, we may say will pay 2 years rent. Now give you a loan of 4 years. Now, but the remaining 2 years, we expect the business to be able to generate money to be able to pay the balance of 4 years. But we may also look at it, because for things that we cannot control, it becomes difficult to advance money towards it. We may say, now, as part of your own contribution to this project, if you apply for 4 million naira, for example, and the rent is 400,000 naira, which is about 10% of 4 million naira, we may say let that come from equity. Because the truth is that BOM will not want to go beyond 70% of the total project requirements, which leaves 30% to be funded from equity. And if 30% will be funded from equity, we may say, now the 10% that is for the rent should come from your own equity. Because for us, it shows seriousness from the part of the business owners. Because if we fund the business 100% and it is not working, tendencies are that the entrepreneur will just pack his bags and leave the business. So I hope that answers the question. Somebody also mentioned if you needed to give money. If I understand that correct, if I understood that correctly, if you needed to give money for to access funds, no, you don't need to give money to anybody to access funds from BOL. Now, you also mentioned why it takes a lot of time to